My name is Josh Boone. I'm with Knauf Insulation.
And I'm Chris Kazorek, also with Knauf Insulation.
And today we want to talk to you about a new product that Knauf Insulation has come out with. It's called the Integrated Roof Deck Bat. Now we have two systems. We have a vented system, which is an R19 IRD, and we also have what we're showing today, an unvented system, which is an R38 value IRD. This is a 12-inch thickness bat that we have with a backing of a Knauf Scrimcraft, also we call it KSK. Now the backing, as you'll see, it is a 22.5-inch length with an actual glass insulation. Now the 22.5-inch Knauf backing is going to fit into a 24-inch on-center roof deck, perfectly flush, and it'll have the product actually mushroom cloud out to cause kind of a continuous insulation at the bottom. The Knauf Scrimcraft is going to be a polyester cord pattern similar to an FSK in commercial buildings, and it's a diamond pattern that crisscrosses. Now it's all throughout the whole entire perforated backing, in which you don't have to specifically put exact spots of staples into the same exact spots every single time. It can actually go into any direction, because depending on certain types of roof deck systems, you're not gonna have exactly 24-inch on center. You have to make some cuts, so you can actually shoot that through in any way.
The staple pattern that we're using is just a six staple pattern. You can see we've got 2 in the top, then there'll be 2 right in the middle, and then 2 right in the bottom again. We're gonna stay about 3 inches away from each corner. So total of 6 staples. Like I said, it's 2 on top, 2 on the bottom, and then 2 in the middle. And you can see here that those were just put in there, but these bats have already fallen, so there's no compression whatsoever. The staple cuts through the fiberglass kind of like hot butter, and it'll allow for the bat to fully recover, so there's no compression whatsoever.
There's 2 types of staple guns that we can use. We can use a battery-powered staple gun, and we can also use a pneumatic staple gun as well. Now, if you're using a pneumatic staple gun, make sure that you have their PSI pressure at 115 to 120 PSI for it to actually shoot through the glass, into the paper, onto the roof deck. Anything less than that, we found that it's just become a little wonky. Sometimes it will fall back. It can cause some moisture behind the deck, which would obviously be bad. So we're using a battery-powered Ryobi. It's an 18-volt battery. The staple that we prefer to use is a 1/4-inch crown and a 1/2-inch leg. The 1/4-inch crown is going to take minimal glass when you shoot through the system, through the bat into the roof deck. It's going to catch very little glass, and it's actually going to be able to stick through the roof deck with about 1/8 or a 1/16 of an inch space, so it doesn't puncture through the cord and actually cause the cord to break.
And one thing to the staple there too, we have a lot of guys that want to try and hammer tack it because they think it's going to be easier up there. Hammer tacker is simply not going to get the PSI that we need to have in there. We need to have a pneumatic staple gun, whether it's with a compressor or a battery power. Tackers aren't going to do it.
We have done practices with a 1/2-inch crown and also a 1/2-inch leg. It just doesn't quite puncture through all the glass of that 12-inch thickness that we're talking about.
Hi, my name is Scott Kelly, and today we are installing a brand new Knauf fiberglass EcoBat to the underside of the roof deck. And in our practice in building high-performance homes and healthy homes, we're using insulation that doesn't have chemicals, doesn't contain chemicals, and is a very friendly fiber to work with when we're touching this fiber. So right now what we're doing is we're installing a bat insulation to the underside of the roof deck, and the reason that we're installing this insulation on the underside of the roof deck instead of the attic plane, as what has been traditionally done, is that this insulation actually is an assembly for a high-performance attic assembly. We can use a fiberglass product on the underside of the roof deck, and on the top of the roof deck we need a vapor impermeable insulation, which is different than the insulation that we're installing on the underside. If we put these two things together in the assembly, then we have an unvented attic assembly. And so in the unvented attic assembly, we can have places for all of our heating and cooling systems to run, for our fresh air tubes to run, and not have to use the attic plane for any part of our insulation. So this material is very thick, as you can see. It's R38, and on the roof we've got another 2 inches of foam, and that's R13, and you put those two together and we're much higher than the code requirement as far as the attic assembly. So we know what we're going to be able to do is stop the heat gain on this house and make this house much more comfortable.
We're just showing the efficiency that this product allows for. So we've got one guy up here that's just putting the bats in, friction fitting. This bat is already up there, friction fit, that he just put up there. So then the guy will come behind him and put in the 6 staples, and then that bat is done. So you can see we're working ahead. The product sticks in the rafters here pretty easily, and allows for a very efficient install.
We've installed it right here on the underside of the roof deck, and the reason why I like this material so much is because we don't have thermal bridging. This material is continuous. If you look up at it, you can't really see where the rafters are. And the material's so deep that it mushrooms out over the top of the rafters, and all wood members that run in between insulation, these are thermal bridges. This is an area where the stud can conduct heat or cool all the way through. Well, in this case, we've taken away the thermal bridge, because what we've done is we put the insulation in, friction fit it, and it came up together and it butted together. And so when we look up at it now, it looks continuous. And that's the ideal situation with any insulation.
And for more information, please visit knaufinsulation.us to contact myself or Chris.